Today, I want to discuss a short segment from a political talk show on HBO called Real Time with Bill Maher. Now, I'm not here to promote TV personalities like Bill Maher. I disagree with him all the time. I do credit him with bringing together opposing voices to debate at the same table. And that goes straight to what he's driving at here with this question that he asks: what do we do and how can we move forward when both sides of an issue are accusing each other of the exact same thing? Here, take a listen.
And this is you. You said Biden and the Democratic elite have turned our country into a banana republic. I think the exact same thing about the other side. That's exactly what I would say about the Republicans. If they steal this election, and they fully intend to steal it, this republic ends. How do we get out of this where we are such mirror images of each other that we think exactly the same way about the other side? We both use that phrase, existential threat. How do we get out of that?
Mirror images of each other. There's the trap. There's the banana peel on the floor right there. We can look at it, we can talk about it, we can point it out, and yet there it is, where as soon as either one of us steps forward, as soon as I step forward to state my grievances and make my case, all you hear is a list of the crimes you think I committed. And to you, it sounds like brazen hypocrisy. It sounds like a denial of the undeniable. And yet when you step forward to state your case, I see the same hypocrisy in you. So that's the question. Where do we go from here? How do we get past it? And responding to this question is former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. And her response is so reflective of where we are in America. She doesn't hesitate for a moment in declaring that there is no mirror image, or rather one image is real and the other one is false, that Bill Maher's opinion might just be an opinion, but her position is based on what's actually happening.
I think it's important to look at what's actually happening, that this isn't my opinion versus your opinion and everyone else's opinion or some theory about what may possibly happen.
That's right. Your opinion might be some theory based on a hypothetical situation that might happen, but my position is based on facts. Even with this banana peel right there on the floor between us, we can drop it, we can talk about it, and yet unflinchingly, without hesitation, the former Congresswoman steps right forward and whoop, just right into it.
When you look at the weaponization of the Department of Justice, you talk about all the different cases that Trump is facing, but then you can also look at how political opposition and others who disagree with this administration are also being targeted.
So there's that phrase we've been hearing recently, weaponization of the Department of Justice, as if Donald Trump were the first politician to be indicted by the Department of Justice. Here's a classic. James Traficant, Democratic representative of Ohio for 17 years, did 7 years in prison for his crimes. Former U.S. House Speaker Tom DeLay was sentenced in 2011 for money laundering. He was acquitted on appeal. Does that mean that this was a case of weaponization of the Justice Department? Here's Rod Blagojevich, former governor of the state of Illinois, sentenced for selling a Senate seat.
As he awaits word at this minimum security Colorado prison, the disgraced ex-governor seems in good spirits, getting some exercise, running for about an hour as the sun sets, socializing with his fellow inmates, his signature head of hair still full, but now silver.
Ted Stevens, Republican senator from Alaska for over 40 years. Convicted by the Bush administration 8 days before he was up for re-election, which he lost narrowly. Stevens was cleared on appeal for pretty good reasons, if you ask me. Does that mean that his indictment was the result of a weaponization of the Justice Department? Here's John Mitchell, Richard Nixon's Attorney General. He was found guilty of planning and covering up the Watergate scandal in 1975. He did 19 months in prison, according to the internet. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I wasn't able to find the actual court documents. House Speaker Dennis Hastert indicted for paying hush money to cover up the molestation of some kids he used to coach.
Breaking news right now, we're getting a new look at Dennis Hastert. The mugshot was taken Monday. The former House Speaker was moved from a federal prison to a, quote, known location in Lake County earlier this week with an ankle bracelet. Hastert served 13 months for covering up payments to conceal sex abuse.
New York Mayor Eric Adams is under indictment right now. There are others, of course.
U.S. Senator Bob Menendez was convicted on all 16 criminal counts, including bribery, in his federal corruption trial Tuesday, completing the once powerful New Jersey Democrats' dramatic downfall.
President Biden's own son, Hunter, is being prosecuted for buying a gun between drug binges or maybe during one, who knows.
Representative Henry Cuellar and his wife Imelda now out on bond after being indicted on more than a dozen counts, including conspiracy, bribery, and money laundering.
And, of course, the elephant in the room, Democratic Senator John Edwards. He was John Kerry's running mate in 2004, and he was indicted for, pay attention now, paying hush money to cover up an extramarital affair, which he then failed to report as a political campaign expenditure. Does that sound familiar at all? It should, because that is exactly what Donald Trump was convicted of in New York. Now, John Edwards was acquitted from his campaign finance case because by the time the scandal caught up to him, he saw it coming, and he retired from politics just in time. You can't fail to report a campaign expenditure if you're not campaigning, right? So he used the ejection seat. That was a decision that he made, but he made the sacrifice with it. You use the ejection seat, you lose the plane. John Edwards dropped out of politics, and he hasn't been back since. Say what you want about Donald Trump, but he is a stubborn fighter. This is a guy who's going to pay his hush money and refuse to report it, and then run for president. Twice. He's that guy who's going to pull this plane out of this dive, or he is going to crash and burn with it. That seems to be his attitude. If he's in control of the White House next year, then we'll know that he pulled out of that dive. But the Edwards hush money case actually happened. All of these cases actually happened, as Congresswoman Gabbard put it. They're actually happening. So why is she striding forward so purposefully to step on this banana peel that was just pointed out to her? I mean, half of these cases you've probably heard of if you're watching this video this far. So why do I have to roll these videos? Why should I have to? Why is she using phrases like weaponization of the Justice Department as if no one has ever mentioned to her that the Justice Department has been investigating and prosecuting corruption in politics since before any of us were born? I mean, what are we to make of this amnesia?
These people should be indicted. This was the greatest political crime in the history of our country, and that includes Obama and it includes Biden.
That Biden family and others, but that Biden family is corrupt. It's a corrupt family. And with me and my kids, let me tell you, my kids, I'll tell you something, though, and it's very, lock them up. You shouldn't lock them up. Lock up the Bidens. Lock up Hillary. Lock them up. So crooked Hillary, wait, crooked, you should lock her up, I'll tell you. Lock her. Lock them all up.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Moving on.
You look at how we're facing more censorship of free speech now than ever before in my lifetime, whether it's directly or indirectly from this administration. Obviously, COVID was a huge example of this. There are many others that have come forward.
Here she's talking about phone calls and emails that were made by the Biden administration to social media companies like Facebook and Twitter, pressuring these platforms to suppress content that contradicts the administration's public health policy. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has publicly complained about this. I understand that he wrote this letter here to Congress I couldn't find a copy on any of the congressional websites, so here's a copy from mainstream media, which I assume is legit. But again, there's that same banana peel. Donald Trump has threatened to do a lot more than phone calls and emails. He's threatened to shut Facebook and Twitter down completely if he doesn't agree with their fact-checking. He's been threatening for years to force news networks off the air. This one here is just from a few days ago. I'm not here to tell you which is worse or who it is that deserves to be censored. I'm just pointing out that Congresswoman Gabbard is striding right onto the banana peel that Bill Maher laid out for her.
And you look at how they tried to remove Trump from over 32 ballots in different states. These are things that should not and cannot be happening in a true democracy, in a democratic republic.
Again, in Tulsi Gabbard, we have a 2-decade politician who's acting like she just got here, like she's never even heard of a lawsuit to challenge or to strike a candidate off the ballot.
She shouldn't be allowed to run. Okay, she shouldn't. If she were to win this election, it would create an unprecedented constitutional crisis. In that situation, we could very well have a sitting president under felony indictment and ultimately a criminal trial. It would grind government to a halt. Of course, that's what we have right now under Obama anyway. We need a government that can work and work well from day one for the American people. That will be impossible with Hillary Clinton, the prime suspect in a massive, far-reaching criminal investigation. Her current scandals and controversies will continue throughout her presidency and will make it virtually impossible for her to govern or lead our country.
I mean, trying to disqualify a presidential candidate was exactly how Donald Trump went from reality TV star to political figure.
Based on what? And you know what? His grandmother in Kenya said he was born in Kenya and she was there and witnessed the birth, okay? He spent $2 million in legal fees trying to get away from this issue. And if he weren't lying, why wouldn't he just solve it? And I wish he would, because if he doesn't, it's one of the greatest scams in the history of politics and in the history period. I have people that actually have been studying it and they cannot believe what they're finding.
You have people now down there searching, I mean, in Hawaii?
Absolutely, and they cannot believe what they're finding.
How does Tulsi Gabbard not remember the leader of the birther movement?
I am really honored, frankly, to have played such a big role in hopefully getting rid of this issue. Now, we have to look at it. We have to see, is it real? Is it proper? What's on it? But I hope it checks out beautifully. I am really proud. I am really honored. We know very little about our president. I'm very honored to have gotten him to release his long-form birth certificate, or whatever it may be. Now, many people have questions, and very serious questions.
Again, I am not here to promote TV personalities like Bill Maher. I'm just acknowledging that this one time he made a point that is kind of difficult to deny, especially when you see one of his panelists walking right into the banana peel to basically prove his point, about as poignantly as possible, in spite of herself. The unquestioning loyalty and blind faith that we see in politics today is robbing intelligent people of their ability to speak intelligently to the issues of the day. And so here we are mirror images of each other, cursing at the mirror, getting nowhere. And so the question remains, what do we do? How do we get past it? All we can do here at Freesplain is roll the tapes, display the tweets for you, show you the court documents so you can look at them and make your own decisions, understanding the world around you a little bit better before you vote. I'm nobody special. This is Freesplain.